In this section, I'm going to talk about shaft tool. But before going on to shaft tool, I want to show you something interesting about profiles that you use for padding. First of all, let's go to, for example, XY plane and select the sketch. And you can see that I'm going to select a profile tool and create a very simple profile like this. I'm going to have this open. And you remember that anything that I created previously was closed profile, and this is not a closed profile. And now let's see how we can use padding to, add some material and take this to the third dimension. I go and click on Exit Workbench right here. And whenever I start padding, you can see this dialog box that tells me you cannot pad this unless you select the thick option in padding tool. And I accept to select the thick option by checking this, and you can see that now I have two different limits. Now I can add the first dimension about 20 millimeters. That's okay for me, and you can see the selection is sketch 1. And in the second limit, I want to have about 20 millimeters, and you can see that this goes to the downside, but the thickness is very important here because we are creating a thick profile. So I can add thickness in two directions first. The thickness one is in one direction, and I'm going to have this about 5 millimeters. And I can add the second thickness in the other direction. You can see that this is going inwards, and I'm going to have about 5 more millimeters outwards. You can see that I have a line that is, an indented line that tells me that this is the profile that you have, and I have thickness in both directions. This is not necessary, of course, to have thickness in both directions, but I prefer to have this. You can see that I click on OK, and now I have something like this. And the second thing that I want to tell you is this. If you select a closed profile, you will get a solid. That means that object is a filled object. And if you select an open profile, you will get a surface. And I'm going to talk about surface more in the upcoming sections. Okay, now that I have this, I want to remove it and go to shaft tool. I'm going to XY plane again using the sketch button, and now I'm going to select one axis. And I have used axis previously. As I told you, I cannot use axis as a construction object. That means I cannot use it to create any object or any 3D object from that. This is just going to act as an axis. So I click here and I draw an axis here, and the length of axis is not important. The angle of the axis, I want to have it vertical. You can see that this is selected, and I can go to constraint define and make this vertical like this, and some constraints are applicable on this. So I click OK. And the second thing that I want to have is this. I want to have a rectangle right here, for example, like this. And I want to use this rectangle to have a shaft out of it. So I exit my workbench. You can see that this is selected by default. I select the shaft tool here, and now you can see that it recognizes the axis that I had created previously, and it uses that axis to round it. And you can see that I have again first angle and second angle. These are identical to the first limit and second limit. That means I can have an amount of degrees in one direction. For example, I want to have 45 degrees in one direction, and I can have another amount of degrees in the other direction, for example 60 degrees in the opposite side. So you can see that I can have this, or I can have a full round using a 360 degrees of rotation around the axis that I have had previously. Now I can select other things as axis. For example, I want to select something else. I can right click on the selection. You can see that I have some of these axes available here. And of course, if I had something else like the line of the rectangles, for example, this line, I can select this. Let's check this. For example, I want to select this selection axis. I go to select this line. You can see that this is going around itself. Or I can make selection highlighted again, and I can go to this uh, V direction. I can see that it goes around that. I want to have the axis that I had previously here, so I go and select that axis. And you can see that it is not possible to find it. I can go to part body and open the sketch and find the axis. And this is gonna be under geometry. So I can open this, and because the axis is gonna be named line, I should find the line that is working as an axis, and this is of course a little hard to find this. So I go and find it. You can see that it is hard to find. I just go and select the axis here. I can go and clear the selection, and you can see that the axis is the default thing that it uses for its rotation. So I click on OK, and now I can see that my shaft is here. Using shift button and left arrow key or right arrow key, I can rotate around this, and you can see that this is the exact thing that I need to have. Now I can have something removed from this. So for this, I go to XY plane again. I go to sketch and environment again, and you can see that I have this here. I want to draw a rectangle here like this, and now I can cut some of the shaft that I had using the groove tool. I can exit my workbench. Groove works exactly like Pocket, but on the round shape. So I select the groove. You can see this under shaft, or you can go to insert and dress up features and find it here. You can find it. No, this is not here. A sketch paste feature, I guess. Yes, this is here. You can select groove option, and it tells me the profile as sketch dude that I have selected here. That is the profile that I need to use for grooving, and the axis. I should select the axis, and this is the axis that I want to. Whenever I hover my mouse over this soul, you can see this, shaft. I can find the axis and click on that. You can see that it goes again 360 degree, unless I want to have it less or in two directions with different amounts of degrees. So this is okay for me, and I click on OK. You can see that I have a bobbin shaped thing right now. So you have shaft and groove exactly as pocket and pad, but on the round shapes. Let me show you some other example again. I want to go to YZ plane now and go to sketch environment. Now I want to add an axis here. Again, axis is a good thing to work with because this is a non-construction object. I want to have an ellipse here, and I can have an arc here, and I can have it using a simple arc. I click somewhere on the axis. I go to have the radius this much. I select the first point here, and now you can see that the second point here, I want to have it aligned with this. So I can select this point and select this axis and select coincidence like this. I cannot have this like this. Okay, no, I don't want it. I want to draw it again. So I select this. I select the center somewhere on this. I want to have this here, and the second point is gonna be here. Now I have a semicircle, of course. So I exit my workbench and use this for shafting. So I select the shaft tool. You can see that it runs around the axis that I have created. So I click on OK. You can see that this doesn't work. Why not? Let's. No, it works very nicely. You can see that I have a globe right now. And this is very nice globe. And you can see the sketch is still there. I want to hide it. I don't want to see the sketch. I can right click on the sketch and select hide so you can see that the sketch is there. Of course, no, it was hidden. So I want it to be hidden again. So everything is working okay right now, and I'll have used different profiles to create different types of shafts and grooves.